Hello and welcome to Health Matters on Channels Television. Thanks for staying with us. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. The global figure for COVID-19 as at September the 11th was close to 28.5 million. More than 19 million people had recovered, and there were more than 900,000 deaths. In the same time frame, 56,017 infections were recorded cumulatively in Nigeria, out of which 43,998 have recovered and 1,076 people have died. The overall recovery rate was about 78.5%, while the mortality rate has been steady at 1.9%. So far, 436,231 samples have been tested. The leading vaccine candidate by AstraZeneca and Oxford University was halted when a participant developed a potential serious adverse reaction. We are looking at vaccines and treatment today. There's an immunologist in the house. He is also head of biological sciences at the Mountaintop University, Ogun State. You're welcome to the show, Dr. Adeshina Adega.
Thanks for having me.
Let's go back a bit, before the Oxford University vaccine and talk about Sputnik. People had reservations against it.
No.
First of all, I don't even know if they started phase 3 trials yet.
You started.
They said they had successful phase 1 and 2 trials.
Yes.
So they said there was lack of diversity, that they used young, strong military men, that they're too healthy to just be the only ones being used for the trial. And that they also said that they didn't use, people from other countries, other lineages. So they're not happy with the results. People also complained of the data being photoshopped. What would these be concerns to you in looking out for the vaccine?
It's a great concern in the sense that vaccine trial has its due process. And because once due process is not followed, especially certified by Safety and Monitoring Board and Advisory Board as well, it cannot go on. And unfortunately, the Russian vaccine is being seen as the participants being coerced.
Oh.
They see that
They are
way.
not willing participants.
No, they see that way. That
Okay.
people, because young people, military people, they cannot say
Obey
no.
the last order.
They cannot say no. So that's why the Western side, they are seeing it as not showing the real books, because the whole thing must be very empirical. And mind you, in vaccine, when you give vaccine, it's of two roles. One, not being you're preventing the disease from infecting you and preventing the virus from infecting you or any agent from infecting you. One, two, when it even enters, it should be preventing the victim or the patient
From getting too sick.
Yes.
Has that not been achieved?
No. I said for any trial, for any vaccine trial, the result must be showing all that.
Okay.
And where you are not able to show the empirical data for all those something, they won't take it seriously.
Of course, having a board that is removed from whatever is going on is very important.
It's a
Are they
board.
saying there is no
safety and
board?
and monitoring board? They are different entities entirely that you will invite to come and see from different settings entirely, not part of the research and not part of the manufacturing. Then the advisory board also is also there. So that's the level of transparency that have been injected into vaccine procedure. So once you are claiming anything on your vaccine and it's not in that line, they won't take it. They won't take it seriously.
Okay, I want to look at this diversity thing.
Yes.
Does it mean that if we say we are coming out with a vaccine in Nigeria and then we test it on only Nigerians, then it will not be accepted?
One thing is this. the virus has its own. That's why I'm happy about what is going on in Ron University. They are doing the sequencing, and they're also engaging outside body sequence of the virus and advising Cambridge University to co-opt to them, to so as to know whether they are doing well or not, and then using the sequence virus and identifying the area that should be very, very effective of usable in the manufacturing to produce the vaccine. That one now prepared in Nigeria, collaborated with UK. UK can attest to it. Okay. Nigeria can attest to it. And by the time it settles the art in another place, then it will be found to be.
So you're in collaboration with the UK, with Cambridge
University,
to make a vaccine.
Yes. And
you're going to have volunteers from both Nigeria and the UK. Mm-hmm. So it makes it more diverse.
Yes, exactly. And the acceptability is high.
At what point is this vaccine right now? At what stage are you?
The sequencing has been made. Collaboration is going on with the Cambridge on the processing.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a bit behind the AstraZeneca and the Russian vaccine.
Yes.
Okay, so talking about the vaccine from Oxford, they halted it. They halted the trials, and they're at the end stage of phase 3 trials now. They're into phase 3 trials, the last lap. And then somebody develops complications, and not just muscle pain or headache or fatigue, not just a cold. The person develops transverse myelitis. That's really serious,
yes.
Which means it could be a case of paralysis, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the trials have been halted. Is that the end of the vaccine?
No, it's not the end.
So just walk us through what can happen.
Now, what happened really is that when you are recruiting participants for any trial, you have to be very sure of whom you are recruiting.
Okay.
And then get a real data about a person, biological data, or hematological or body form data.
Okay.
And then by the time you are administering the vaccine, you must ensure that the person is healthy.
Oh, so it's not just a case of I volunteer, come and shoot.
You must pass through the test.
The person must be healthy.
Yes, you must pass through the test because vaccine is for healthy people.
Okay. Yes. You don't put a vaccine in a sick person.
Exactly. So, and mind you, because of the fact that the materials used in making this vaccine, it's not only the virus. Okay. There are materials used. So if a person is reacting to part of the materials, you may not know. And it can trigger anything.
But at this point, they're even saying that they're not even sure whether she got the vaccine or the placebo.
That's why the investigation is on.
Okay.
It's still on now.
So it could just be a freak accident.
Yes.
It could be that this thing was coming to her and it happened at the wrong time.
Exactly.
But it could also be the vaccine.
Yes, but at the end of the investigation, the decision will be taken as to whether to reactivate the trial and then go ahead. But then it has to be on a larger population because we are talking about effectiveness.
Yes.
Safety and effectiveness. So it's very key.
Okay, so what could halt this vaccine trial and bring it to an end such that they will say, okay, we can't go on with this anymore?
When we have more, there's a percentage of safety that can be allowed.
Okay.
If it's beyond that percentage, no. It will be played down. It will step down.
But scientists say that, having transverse myelitis is not really uncommon in vaccines, that they've had this thing before in other vaccine trials, like yellow fever and some others. That is not a big deal,
Yes. It's true. That's why I'm saying there's a percentage of safety that on safety measures or on safety adverse event that can arise. And mind you, we are talking of trying large population, okay. 5,000, 10,000, 11,000, 20,000. So the percentage that's allowed and say, okay, maybe this one may not really be part of the effect of the vaccine or whatever, then let the vaccine go ahead. So it's allowed. I go but once it is beyond that
Safety margin.
safety margin, it will be stepped down.
So
that's when it can be totally stopped.
Can they maybe tweak the components of the vaccine?
The whole vaccine will go back to the lab and check the content.
They will have to start all over again.
Yes. You have to check the content, you have to check the safety, you have to check the effectiveness, and also how, because you can't just gather 100 or 200 or 300 people and say, oh, the vaccine is okay, they are getting good responses. No. That's why you have a randomized trial. That's what we call the phase 3 randomized trial, which has to be compared. It has to be compared.
Okay, so I'd like to know, the lady who developed the complication,
yes,
who knows what she got? Because I know there's all these blind and something.
Hang on, is a blind.
Is the thing, the information, isn't it in custody of somebody at least? Someone should know.
I know.
This is what gave this woman.
The people bringing out the bottles for you to go and try.
Okay.
Bottle A, bottle B, bottle C.
They would have marked.
They know the one that is real.
Okay.
I get my point. So they now identify which one they do give the patient. And once they say this, okay, they now go back to tell, okay, get this, okay, no problem. They now go and check the content.
Okay.
The content of that.
So if it's a placebo, they are good to go.
They are going.
I hope it's a placebo.
That's why the investigation is on. That's why science is good. You can't manipulate science.
Do you know of any other indigenous vaccines that indigenous formulations that we're having, apart from the one that the Run University is having with Cambridge? Is there any other one?
There's another one, Adeleke University. They came up with an information that they are making trial in collaboration with Adeleke University in Osun State.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yes.
For the first time,
Yes.
I'm excited about this,
Yes.
and good luck to you. I hope that it's comes up with success.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's going to be.
Okay, so WHO is forming a network in Africa to study the virus. What will they be looking for? Why do they want to study the virus in Africa? Can't they study it somewhere else? I mean, what is this about?
Now, I have told you that the virus is everywhere, and it has a phenotypic. Well, let me bring it down. The environmental effects on the formation, even on the genetic formation, and the activity of the virus.
Meaning, in layman's
Africa,
English,
in Nigeria,
that the atmosphere affects how the virus behaves.
Yeah.
Okay. So they want to know how it's behaving. I can see where they are coming from. Africans are not dying as much as those abroad. And it's causing a lot of curiosity. I mean, isn't that it? Yeah. Okay, good luck to them. Good luck to them. Okay. Now, the gene has been sequenced in Nigeria. Would the sequence differ from the sequences of other genes in other countries? Maybe because of this phenotypic effect.
That's it.
That's what would happen. Okay, so following through with that, is it possible that maybe one of these companies comes up with a vaccine and it's effective for only their people and not effective for another set of people somewhere else?
In science, they struggle to achieve something that is broad.
Okay, I'm going to have to pause you there and let us continue after the break because we are going on a break. Can you believe it? A break already. Stay with us. We'll be back. Welcome back. It's Health Matters on Channels Television. The number to call is 0805-468-3514. That number is going to be showing on your screen. If you have any questions about vaccine, please call. You can also tweet at CTV_Mary A while the program is on. So you were talking about the acceptability or the efficacy of a vaccine globally that was made in one place.
Yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there must be broadness of the genetic makeup of the material you are using for the vaccine. So as to be upset. For instance, when you are talking about measles, you're talking about yellow fever vaccine. Sometimes when you exhaust in your country, you need to get another one from anywhere. So the same thing, but this one, because it is it's new, and people are just rushing into it. It has to be really really managed in such a way that whichever one you are
Whichever one is successful.
Yes, is successful.
Has wide
exactly acceptability.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
All right. So considering that it's only healthy subjects that get vaccinated, how do they gauge that a person has been exposed to the virus enough to say this vaccine is effective? You have a whole lot of people, you vaccinate them, but how do you know they're exposed enough to the virus for you to understand that they are immune?
Mind you, when you give somebody, when you give subjects or people vaccine, now you need to test their response.
Okay.
And mind you, if anyone is having an untoward reaction before, or a kind of health challenge before, you don't vaccinate such people.
Of course, the person could get worse.
Exactly. So that's why it's mandatory that you vaccinate
healthy people. It's
person.
Understood.
Exactly.
But how do they know the person has met with the virus and the person is okay?
It's okay. You measure, for instance, if you are having about, you vaccinated about 1,000 people. Now you follow up, you get the blood, and test the antibody.
Okay, the person has
exactly.
an immune reaction.
Exactly.
Antibodies are formed.
Yes.
So if antibodies are not formed, then perhaps the person hasn't come in contact with the virus.
Yes.
But once antibodies are formed, then you know this
yes.
person has met the
exactly.
virus and is eliciting an immune response.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. It's clicking now. It's clicking.
And where,
but how do you measure the dosage? How do you know a good dosage for a person?
Well, that's why the phase 1, phase 2, before phase 3.
That's a lot of work.
Exactly.
You have to discover the components
yes.
you put in. You have to know how much exactly to give each person.
Exactly.
And then monitor thousands of
exactly.
people.
And not only that, the material with which you have used it to make the vaccine, people must not react to it.
Okay. Let me take Danjuma from Abuja. Hello, Danjuma.
Hello. I just want to ask you, the vaccines are supposed to be preventive, isn't it? Or are they curative?
Correct. Vaccines are preventive.
Meaning,
is that your question, Danjuma? Go ahead. Okay, it looks like I don't have Danjuma anymore, but he has raised a concern. Okay. Vaccines are supposed to be preventive, right?
Exactly.
Which means you don't use them to treat.
No.
So medicines are different from vaccines.
Yes.
All right. If I haven't covered it, please feel free to explain some more.
Okay. Now, when you give vaccine to prevent infection, because once the vaccine is given, and the resistance is built up in the body. And once resistance is built up in the body, people can now walk around and without
fear
of being infected.
Okay.
So, and then depending on the level of that immunity developed, determines the success of the vaccine.
What if the person already has COVID-19 and then he's mistakenly injected with the vaccine? What would happen?
Now, they are not injecting the person with live virus.
Okay.
is attenuated virus.
Weakened form.
Exactly, weakened form. So it cannot ignite. However, but if the person is having underlying sickness, underlying ailment, and he is just rushing along the public, along the crowd that he wants to get the vaccine, of course that's why the vaccinators must gauge the volunteers.
Okay.
Assess
and make sure that they are good.
Yes, so that
Let's
they
take
don't come down.
this call from Joseph, calling from Yaba. Hello, Joseph.
Hello, madam.
Good afternoon. What's your question?
Well, yeah, well done for the nice work.
Thank
But
you so
we're
much.
hearing this vaccine here and there. It's quite confusing. I would suggest we as Africans, like our guest there said, that you ask him a question: why are we doing this research in Africa? He talked about the environmental factor. Believe me, madam, you will agree with me as an expert that food in Africa can make us sustain and survive any type of diseases. We should advocate more for dietary. You brought in a woman that was talking about diet some time ago. Perfect. Let us talk on dietary. The way children eat these days is so horrible. They're exposed to quite a number of diseases. Food is very significant. I remember Olarotimi of the Unilab. He wrote in his play that food is medicine, medicine is food. Ogulonje, onje logun. Let us advocate about food. And
Thank you
then
so much,
let us
Joseph.
not on the scriptures. The scriptures mention adultery. Adultery is everywhere, affecting every family, every child. All these woodland children are proceeds of adultery. And this is
So much, Joseph. Let's handle some of the things you raised.
Okay.
He's talking about diets.
Yes.
I have heard about vitamin D,
Okay.
being sort of like, okay, let me explain it this way. They found out that people who had more untoward effects or who died from COVID-19 had low vitamin D levels. So I think that is pretty much established. What else could one do? Is it true that if we pay attention to our diets, we could be immune from this disease?
Not total. Parts, yes, I agree. But it can aid the immunity and can aid survival. If one is infected, it can reduce the level of severity. Are you with me?
Yes.
But that's when the diet comes in. However, vaccination is still very key. Are you with me? Because we are not all the same, and not only that, the kind of food all of us are eating, it's not the same.
Okay.
And especially if one is now brought up with food that ignites immunity, especially with the kind of vegetables we consume here, it's okay. Are you with me? So, and it depends. Even when such people, when they are vaccinated, you find that they have a good high level of immunity. When they are vaccinated.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adeshino Adeiga, for coming to the show. This has been so interesting. Thank you very much, Joseph, for calling. Thank you, Dan Juma, and have a wonderful day, everybody. And please stay safe. I am Mary Alale Yusuf.